What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Worship Guitar Show. Great to see you. Have we got a show for you this evening? That sounds so game show host. In any case, very excited to be with each of you, wherever it is that each of you is and all of you are. One of my favorite things to share about is the understanding of theory and how that relates to the guitar as it relates to the other instruments that we make music with. Why is this particularly something that I'm passionate about? One, many guitar players, their on-ramp to playing the instrument, not that there's anything wrong with that, because that was kind of my on-ramp to playing the instrument, is very shape-based. The great thing is, if I want to play a G major bar chord or an A major bar chord or a B major bar chord or a C major bar chord, that's great. But nobody kind of in the early days actually went, hey, that's a G, D, D, G, B, and G, B, D, G. Hang on. G, D, G, B, D, G. And an A, E, A, C sharp, E, and an A. And a B, F sharp, B, D sharp, F sharp, and a B. And a C, G, C, E, G, C. Nor that was a 1 5 1 3 5 1, and another 1 5 1 3 5 1, and another 1 5 1 3 5 1, another 1 5 1 3 5 1. And in so doing, it's kind of like we go down this cavernous, dark path. We learn more and more shapes, knowing less and less about what's really making the shapes. That is to say, that if I went to the key of, I don't know, how about, there we go, the key of C major, and we looked at C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, and if you take a look where the black keys are and are not, you'll see that it's C, hold to D, hold to E, half to F, hold to G, hold A, I don't know why I'm doing this stupid thing, but hold to B, half to C. And essentially what that's kind of telling us is that the half steps occur between 3 and 4 and 7 and 1. One more time, and that is? Very good. That's 3 and 4 and 7 and 1 business is kind of the DNA that we can use over and over that allows us to begin to have the ruler, the tape measure by which we can kind of make sense of all of this stuff. And so it's a fabulous vehicle for us to be able to make sense of this thing that from pretty much the beginning for most of us, we really didn't know what was going on under the hood. Now, again, why? I want to be able to look over to a keyboardist, and I remember specifically being in worship, watching the keyboardist, the future wife of one of my best friends, sitting there playing the chord changes, moving like one finger, and I'm like, oh, I want to learn how to do that. And they were just sitting there working with the inversions. As guitar players, if, for example, we wanted to go G, C, and D, we would markedly change chord shapes versus going G, C, and D. It's just not how we're taught to think about chords being in basically just a G major triad, a C major triad in second inversion, and a D major triad in first inversion. So now, here's the thing, when we want to go, and we want to go, or if we had kind of a volume-y kind of swell deal, imagine it swelling. That is so stupid. But it's kind of fun. It gives us the ability to do what they do on keyboards, right? But if we don't really know what we're doing, we're going to have a heck of a time knowing what we're doing. And more importantly, if we want to say to the keyboardist, hey, what voicing are you playing there? Tell me what you're playing and what you're thinking. And, the interesting thing is that a keyboardist that has learned arrangement can tell you why they're playing which voicing where. That is to say, I can play this G major here, I can play that G major there, and I can play that G major there. I'm going to choose those chords based on maybe where I'm going next. And so on and so forth. And we could then kind of take the same idea. So that is that G major chord in first inversion. D. Right there. Isn't that cool? And all of a sudden we're like thinking all musical like. And what it means is that we have more choices than capo 2. It's like after a while it gets really eliminating not knowing what you're doing. But here's the journey. How do we get to the place from, kind of going, I always joke about Fretboard and I can't. So G, 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 F, D, F, G, F, D, G, F, D, G, G, B flat, G, B flat, G, B flat, G, B flat, or G, G, B flat, G, B flat, G, G, B flat, G, something like that. The idea of we don't think about the notes like that. And you know what? It's totally okay when we don't want to have to think about the notes. By the way, hi everybody, great to see you. And in any case, so hey Brew, hey Alan, hey Chris, hello to everybody over there on the Book of Face and the Face of Book. There we go. Let's see. Good. Boy, we're a little light tonight. All right, cool. No, wait, I see people. They're just not commenting. Uh-oh, I said that and one dropped off. In any case, thanks so much for joining us. All right, so the deal, I guess it was the Fretboard thing. They're like, Fretboard, I'm out of here. Either that or they're like, ooh, let me go crank up my Marshall. So the thing is that this whole inversion thing, again, that moment I watched the keyboardist doing that, I was like, ooh, I know what they're doing. And at that point, I'd spent a lot of time working with triads like this right here. If you take a look at the notes on the fourth string, you're going to see G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Ignore that upper A. I'm not sure why I put that in there, but you can ignore that for now. I guess, I don't know why I did that. So imagine you just kind of went G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. And then as you take a look at G, and then on the G string you got a B, and on the B string you've got a D. And then you kind of follow those lines up. Although it's a little bit weird to look at, that's basically spelling out these chords. That is to say, if you take a look over there on the... So just imagine as we're going up, we're in California, so we're not getting nailed with the storms. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you're going to be having electricity through the night. Not for me, but for you. So as we take a look at this G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G business on the D string, see that G goes with B and D, and A goes with the next pair of notes. C and E, D and F sharp, G and E, sorry, E and G, F sharp and A, G and B, A and C, and B and D. Boy, it's really strange. I'm looking at it kind of upside. It's kind of backwards from the way I'm seeing the next. So it's really, I could do better, but I go B, D, C and E, D and F sharp, E, G, F sharp, A, G, B, E, and A, C, And that's really strange to be calling out the 3 and the 5 of the triad without calling out the 1. I'm a much better job of G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F sharp, C, E, G, D, F sharp, A, E, G, B, F sharp, A, C, G, B, D. And that's kind of what's written out there on the page. But the idea is you can kind of see there's two things happening there. And there's what we could refer to as double dyads, which means we really need to go back to our thing here. All right, so a minute ago we were talking about the half steps occurring between the 3 and the 4 and the 7 and the 1, which means that if we're in the key of C, hold the D, hold the E, half step to F, hold the G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C. That whole step of that pattern of 2 whole steps and a half, 3 whole steps and a half step, you can move. And then that becomes, for this key, G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C, hold the D, hold the E, and a whole step above E. If you take a look at that little piano there, it's a half step from E to F, so we're going to need to go a whole step. We're going from E to the next note. That's why it's not going to be G flat. We're at E. We got to go to the next note. After E comes F, and it's going to be an F sharp. G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C, hold the D, hold the E, hold the F sharp, half to G. G, half to F sharp, hold the E, hold the D, hold the C, half to B, hold the A, hold the G. And then if we take that G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G business and go G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G, that's the G major scale. Started off the A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, and A. That's the A Dorian mode. B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, B Phrygian. C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, C Lydian. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, D mixed Lydian. E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, E minor. F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp broken, and G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, that's G major. And if we were to take the first, third, and fifth tones of each of those, so instead of playing G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, we just reduce that down to G, B, D. And instead of playing A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, we go A, C, E, and instead of going B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, we go B, D, F sharp, C, E, G, D, F sharp, A, E, G, B, F sharp, A, C, G, B, D, G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F sharp, C, E, G, D, F sharp, A, E, G, B, F sharp, A, C, G, B, D. And instead of playing it down there, we play it up here. Same thing, G, B, D, G, B, D, that is to say G, G, B, B, and D, D, G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F sharp, C, E, G, D, F sharp, A, E, G, B, D, F sharp, A, C, E, G. Sorry, lost my mind there. G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F sharp, C, E, G, D, F sharp, A, E, G, B, F sharp, A, C, G, B, D, G, B, D, F sharp, A, C, E, G, B, D, F sharp, A, C, E, G, B, D, F sharp, A, C, E, G, B, D. And collectively, that gives us major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor, diminished, major, major, diminished, minor, major, major, minor, minor, major, which you can think of as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, which interestingly, if you take a look at kind of the key of C there, where we're thinking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, we're thinking this chord is really the 1, 3, and 5 based on the first note of the major scale. This 2 chord is the first, third, and fifth note based on the second of the major scale. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So that's where this 3, 6, 2, 5 business comes from. 3, 6, 2, 5. Doesn't matter where we play it. It's just the same business. 3, 6, 2, 5. So, getting back to the business at hand, intervals. Oh, why is that keyboard up there? Get out of there, you little pesky little keyboard. So, what we've got here is a way of looking at the G major scale as it relates to the open G string there. All right, so if you look over there on the 4th string at the 4th fret, that's F sharp. Then we got G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C, hold the D, hold the E, hold the F sharp, half to G. And I went up to A there because we want to begin to think of these as they relate to this G note. When we hit the G at the same time, that's what's called unison. And we move a half step below, that's called a minor second. Unison, major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major 6th, major 7th octave, and then a major 9th. So the concept, you learn to get Now, the interesting thing is we don't want to hang at that major 2nd too long, but and Daniel Carson, who I love dearly as a guitar player and as a buddy, that's his genius thing. He, with Chris Tomlin, really owned that, playing either kind of pedaling on the root Now that is G right there. B is my 3. The 3 works okay, but the 5, which is to be B, now, ideally, we would find a key where the harmony note is actually down below, and we're droning the 5 up above, which we're not going to bother going into right now, other than to say it'll sound a little bit better than the D string. Generally, you want to have it be kind of, if you can, on the G string or the B string. So, in other words, if I were doing there's the root again. It's still in the key of G, right? Now, if we were in the key of C, G is going to be my 5. I've moved to the key of G, so let me stay in the key of C. All right, so we're in C, all right. I've lost my mind for a second. No, we want a G. All right, what I'm doing is I'm in the key of C, and I'm taking C, D, E, F, and G, C and G. So I want that G to ring, and I want to be able to find my C. So this is E, half to F, hold the G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C. Why I chose to play that, it doesn't matter, but now, it doesn't sound like an awful lot hanging out on its lonesome, but you add the rest of the band in there, and all of a sudden, it becomes really cool. So let me just very briefly explain what I was doing. We started off in the key of G, and we said, hey, I want to hit that G note on the open G string, and I want to go up to that perfect 5th, which is that D that is hanging out right here. So in the key of G, G, A, B, C, D. We took that same concept, but we moved it to the key of C. And so we put the drone note as the lower note, where here it was the upper note, G, B, D. And here it was the did I say the lower note? Here it's the upper note for the key of G. And here it's the lower note for the key of C. And, you know, the great thing about intervals, you begin to hear them, you're like, oh, that's that song, right? I did that. I was watching the video from last week. I'm like, boy, that guy's ear is terrible. But the only way you get better is by going... And so just mess around with that. And so the idea is you're getting used to doing that. All right, hang on. Let me just bump in and just check in on the chattedness. Forrest, great to see you. Thank you, Forrest. I appreciate it. Forrest's comment, which I unfortunately can't pull in. Hold on. Let's see. Hang on a second. I can pull that in. And Brett, great to see you. With great pleasure. Hang on a second. Let's see if I can get the name too. I can do this. Hold on. Let's see if I can get the smiley face too. You're going to let me get the emoticon. Stop that. Come on. Let's see if I can do this without clicking on a link and opening up all sorts of... There we go. Well, that's as good as I'm going to get tonight. Hang on a second. Oh, scale back to size there. Little diagram. There you go. And there you go. All right, let's do a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this. And I've learned that you don't like to go, where's my eyedropper? I've been through this before. Every so often these tools just kind of vanish. Like the eyedropper tool. Where's my color picker? Because I know this is going to come up illegible. Wait, yeah, no, that's, hang on a second, hang on. I got it. Where is my color picker? Come on. You're just not going to let me do it, are you? Every so often there are things about this. All right. Well, you know what? We tried. My color picker has decided to take the night off. So, Forrest was kind enough to say, hey, Doug, appreciate your valiant efforts to make us smart. Don't give up on us. Absolutely not. We're doing the journey together. And Brett kindly said, good evening, Doug. Thanks for your time and contribution once again. With great pleasure. This is, you know, I've got a buddy that is kind of walking me through a bunch of stuff around video, who knows way more than I do, especially in the editing department. And they've been such a blessing to me, and I'm so grateful. So, you know, this giving back thing is what really kind of makes what we do so integral, right? So thank you, and with pleasure. Bruce, always a pleasure, my friend. Alan, hey. 3 and 4 and 7 and 1, come on. Chris, great to see you. Chris, I hope you're not going to end up again without power. Glad to hear things are settled there, Alan. I use a lot of these, and this is the thing, is the intervals, all it is some fancy words for things that we do by sound. But when we're able to go, okay, wait a second, so, and if we can actually go, okay, so say we're playing over that G chord. Attention. If I do like a chord embellishment, but as I do that embellishment slowly, It's the same thing as that. That's G and A and G. But and the other thing, when you can hear it's like you're scooting through. But for a minute it is. No. And the neat thing is that for the most part, the meat and potatoes of everything that I'm playing is this little business right here. These triads, those three notes, preferably in tune, where this note right here, the G, B, and D, and that's kind of the first three kind of to the, there we go, there, that G, B, and D on the D, G, and B string. Ooh, that's easy to say, not. Those little puppies there, if you take a look at that G and repeat it there and repeat it there, and you take that D and repeat it there, that's that chord, which is this chord turned into a bar chord, however out of tune it might actually be. So this connecting of the dots is important. The intervals, one of the other ways you can begin to think about chords, and I started to say this before, but I wanted to go into the triads before I did this. You can begin to think of them, and these guys, those are dyads, spelled D-Y-A-D-S. I always thought it was like a triad is T-R-I-A-D-S. I always thought dyads were D-I-A-D-S, but I was corrected. By the way, this is a great moment to remind everybody that this show is a direct outreach of Worship Musician Magazine. And every month we labor laboriously to bring the best possible magazine we can to help worship teams and tech teams and everybody that's involved in the whole church thing to get better by Sunday. If you would be so kind as to tell a friend, that would be fabulous. And we're working on some stuff in the background that's going to be increasingly exciting. And we're going to be having more and more demos. And it's going to be really fun how we're going to grow this. So it's really cool. So there's a lot of neat stuff coming. My wife said the word ribs. Boy, she went straight to the like, are there ribs? But there aren't. Awesome. Thanks, Brew. So, you know, we are madly passionate about what we do, and we you know, are probably guilty, like everybody else, of trying to do too much, but we do the best job we can of doing the best job we can. And we continue to endeavor to do more and more, to serve more and more. All right, so the deal is these chords, especially these triads, you can begin to think of as this right here, as you take a look at this diagram right here, as I'm playing the open G string, and this B over here on the fourth string, aka the D string, that is a major third. So then right here, if I go up and hit the D, that's a perfect fifth. So the G is a major third, and the D is a perfect fifth. So if you think about G and B right there, and G and D right there, that's a major third and a perfect fifth. So inside this G major triad, you have these two dyads. You also have this dyad and this dyad, which is this minor third between B and D. And they're are people who think of 7 chords. If I were to, instead of just playing the 1, 3, and 5, as it going 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, but take the 1, 3, 5, and 7, they call these tetrachords because it's 2 triads stacked on top of one another. But we need not concern ourselves. I don't really like looking at these 7 chords. So if I can play that in time. What's neat about those chords? They have some beauty to them. And so the thing about chords is that they are, if you think about every chord as a race car or a go-kart or a dune buggy or a minivan, each one is a vehicle that can take the musical motion of the progression someplace. And it's one of the interesting things as I work more and more looking at new ways to play chords or new ways to kind of change the rhythms around a little bit such that I'm not repeating myself. I am in the midst of doing a demo. Oh, you can't see that. Hang on. So what are we over here? Home is 4? No, 3? There we go. So I'm working on a demo with these guys and these Marshall, yes, the Marshall cabinets and the Line 6 stuff is in there, but with these Celestion full-range live response speakers that are basically direct replacement speakers to go with your favorite modeler. And as I'm working on the demos, I'm having a lot of fun just kind of playing some chords that are, either the same chords that I've played a lot or slight variations on them and just changing stuff up and just having the best time. I thought I was in, all right. All right, I was in E. And just kind of messing around with stuff as if, as opposed to kind of going to pentatonic. But, well, there we go, right now. As opposed to going into the same, or beginning to take a lick I might have done. And beginning to mess around with stuff, right? Oh no. I'm just there kind of doing a thing where I'm playing across different patterns of the pentatonic and just right note. That's an E, by the way. A very common note in E minor pentatonic, I'll add. And that's, again, where knowing this stuff is fun. But the idea is it's okay to make mistakes if the mistakes happen in the process of, hopefully not in the middle of service and Sunday, and that does happen as well. But if the idea is you're trying to find something that's new, that's kind of just a little bit beyond the fingertips, that exploring, I think a lot of guitar players fall short and don't do that. So the goal of being able to look at these types of intervals like this is beginning to kind of go, all right, unison, major second, major third, perfect fourth, and beginning to recognize that, and also beginning to recognize those, what the elements of that triad start to sound like. So you can begin to hear. So there I'm taking basically the G and the B. So here I'm playing the B right here, and I'm playing the G there, and I'm playing the G down there, and I'm playing the G up there. So we have this G, and this G. And so if we take those and play them together, and when we choose, so, you know, gosh, my nails are just a little too long for that business. All right, this needs to get fixed right here and right now. Nails being too long can be a little bit of a problem. Of course, Genius here is like, let me just go back and play the same thing again. Maybe there'll be a different result. But at the same time, you know, I am, you know, and I would like to encourage you within reason. I'm a little stubborn about this stuff, where I'm just kind of like, you know, if I can sniff that there's something new and exciting waiting for me, I'm going to search it out, because what it means is that if I find that little Easter egg that I could kind of hear was hiding there, or I just play with this with the intent of discovery in my practice time, because by the time Sunday rolls around, ideally we've got most of the stuff figured out, unless we're doing some free worship, or, you know, we just kind of feel so moved, and, you know, I'm with you there. So we had so just about everything I'm playing there is the triad, and there's a minor 7, so I've added the D to this, the E triad. If I went G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F sharp, C, E, G, D, F sharp, A, E, G, B, and I go E, G, B, D, or E, G, B, D. It's just a minor 7 chord, and it's just a little bit of extra flavor. And the reason I like that, and the reason why that's important, is if you listen to this chord, so that D note from the G chord, it's really like I'm playing the G major over E. So I got this little walk down G, and that's the other thing, is once you kind of know, all right, we're G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, kind of begin to go, all right, G, F sharp, E. Oh, I'm going G, F sharp, D, A, G. You go to the C chord. getting back to the conversation part, we can go to the keyboard and go kind of, if you could go G, F sharp, D, E, A, G, you can kind of go. So you can kind of go. They're going. I really wanted to go to that Frampton. Or is it Zeppelin? There's a Frampton thing. Baby, I Love You Way. Any case, what's great about this is you begin to hear the way, famous songs use these types of motifs, and it's because, whether it's purposeful or not, kind of seeing, hey, that little D right there is in that E minor 7. That's in that D over F sharp, which, by the way, is D, F sharp, A. That's a D major triad in first inversion, which is to say, instead of going D, F sharp, A, it's going F sharp in the bass, and then it can be A and D or D and A. It doesn't matter. But what's important is the fact, instead of going D, F sharp, A, 1, 3, 5, it's got the 3, the D, the F sharp in the bass. But the point being is all these chords, including the C major add 9, E minor 7, D over F sharp / D major in first inversion, G major, C major add 9. The idea is we got And again, like I've talked about before, if you're clever about it, I'm soloing the entire time, but nobody knows. Entire time, I'm just soloing using chords. And the thing is, I'm doing it in a way that hopefully is embellishing the melody. When I'm doing just a chord, that's the equivalent of when I need to tame it down. It's the equivalent of okie dokie. All right. Leave those comments up forever. All right. Hey, what's going on? Angeline, great to see you from the Philippines. Welcome. We have a bunch of folks that show up in the Philippines, and I love it that you're here. Welcome, 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 welcome. Our dear friend Jem is not, I don't think he was, I think he was born in Australia, but he is of Filipino descent. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, so trust me, there was a church that I used to be at, and if they weren't Filipino, they were Spanish. It was the food was awesome, and the people were even better. So how about that? And my first cousin married a lovely Filipino woman, Rose, and I think I have like 100 nieces and nephews. It's actually pretty darn cool, and just lovely, 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 lovely people. All right, so let me see if I got any comments. It becomes the Riff book. Okay, hang on a second. All right, good, 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 good. All right, good. Okay, good. It becomes the Riff book. Absolutely, intervals and riffs. What are the Chris Alexander? You gig rig minded friends. So those are the Line 6 DT25s, which sadly are no longer in production. But I can tell you, actually, Chris, down below, there you go. Partially inspired by you, because Chris and I were, Chris sent me a photo. We were conversing about one of our favorite metal guitar players, which we will not go into the depths of our metallology in this show today. That doesn't mean that we might not revisit that. But he sent me a photo, and I could see that he had a valve state hiding in the background there. And unfortunately, like, the valve state line is officially kind of out of production. And the DT series amps, those Line 6 amps, are also out of production. But in terms of being able to use them to plop in those Celestion full range live response speakers, they are awesome. They both have effects loops, so you can basically plop into the effects loop, bypass the front end of the amplifier, and they sound amazing. Amazing. And so the demos I'm working on, the funny thing is I actually started off on Pod Go, and I have actually, I needed to break after I kind of got a bunch of stuff set up. Mucho tiempo. But I'm about to dig into the HX Stomp sounds, but the sounds that I got on Pod Go, in this particular case, the brand new Pod Go wireless, I was like, I can't believe how amazing they sound. I was just like, they just, these Line 6 folks are kind of crafty. So the point being is what is the valve state of these DT series amplifiers? They are great vehicles for being able to take your modeling device, put in these Celestion speakers that are designed for modelers, and then just utilize the power amp section of those amps to bring it up to volume in a cabinet that was designed for guitars and guitar speakers. So that's what those are. Watching from Gott's Roadhouse. Rub it in. There we go. The wife's sampling some great burgers. All right. The DT, that's exactly DT25s. That man knows I'm going to need some ribs. That makes two of us. Yes. Thank you, Alan. Having me a treat. Don't tell Doug. I found out. That's a California Roadhouse. You're lucky they've even served meat. Don't get me started. That's awesome. Oh. Awesome, 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 awesome. Oh, did I know that or did I not know that? I have fallen in love with Podgo. I think dollar for dollar, I'm just going to say it. Chris, I apologize. I know I walked you down the road with the GT1000 core, which is a phenomenal piece of gear. And the next, or the actually in this series that I'm doing for Celestion, that is actually on the Celestion channel now. There is going to be one around the GT1000 and GT1000 core, which is a phenomenal piece of technology that pretty much gets no love from the House of Worship, which is really sad. And if you get one, people, we've had this conversation about like, oh, you're playing a GT. It's just like, the worship cork sniffers come out. They inspect your gear and it's like, it's not a Strymon and it's not Fractal and it's not Helix. We shall judge you harshly. This Pod Coach is like, it's crazy how great it sounds. And, the thing is, part of my background in worship is I've spent so many hours, and days on the platform cumulatively with the HD 500. And so there's some of the legacy sounds in here as well as the Helix sounds, but kind of like, a lot of people don't know this, but the AC30 is not just for worship, but is a great blues platform. It's also a great lead platform for some kind of Satriani-esque thing. So I basically just took the third stock preset and I'm like, oh, AC30. And just started twisting a few knobs. I'm like, it's just unreasonably good and just felt great to play. I realize I'm kind of going down the rabbit trail here. But you asked and then you commented. Oh my word, somebody needs to remember to turn off his email. Gary Wicker, what's going on, my friend? I'm 62 and I've been around music most of my life, just learning theory. This is good stuff. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. And here's the deal. The majority of the world has tried to overcomplicate this whole thing. And that's why kind of the visual side, most guitar players, not exclusively, but most guitar players are visual learners. And so again, as we look at this little grid down below there, that dot, the red dots, and I apologize for those of you that are colorblind because one of us in the room, not me, I know is colorblind. So the red dots are blue, I think. So there's a red dot at the open G string, kind of as it's diagrammed out. And there's a red dot at the 5th fret on the D string and then the octave up above there. If my math is right, that's going to be the 17th fret. In any case, so beginning to be able to kind of go, okay, we're not just taking the G major scale, but we're also thinking how it begins to function. That's the major third, and that's the perfect fifth. And if we put those together, that's where this business comes from. And then we just begin to move that up there. Now, I apologize that this diagram here looks insanely busy, but if you kind of can look, at as we move from the D string to the G string to the B string, G, B, D, move up to the next notes, A, C, and E, B, D, and F sharp, C, E, and G, D, F sharp, and A, E, G, B, F sharp, A, C, and G, B, D. That's where these triads come from. And what's neat is you can just kind of see, one of the ways you can look at this is you can see that G becomes A, becomes B, becomes C, becomes D, becomes E, becomes F sharp, becomes G. And the B becomes C, becomes D, becomes E, becomes F sharp, becomes G, becomes A, becomes B, and the D becomes E, becomes F sharp, becomes G, becomes A, becomes B, becomes C, becomes D, which gives us G, B, D, and that becomes A, C, E, and that becomes B, D, F sharp. So these are what Steve Vai refers to as chord scales. I prefer, like we were talking about a little bit before, if we take the 7 notes of the G major scale, and we then kind of start off of each of those notes. And then show off. I know, but then and all I'm doing is taking those 3 notes and then tapping the 5, pulling off to the 3, and hammering onto the 1. That is, there's the 1, 3, and 5, which are G, B, and D, and I'm just going D, B, G, E, C, A, F sharp, D, B, G, E, C. Gosh, it's hard to go backwards for me. A, F sharp, D, B, G, E. Gosh. C, A, F sharp, and D, B, G. Oop. I hit a C sharp. But one of the great things about beginning to be aware of the notes, all right, it's a wrong note, but I actually know I played a C sharp instead of a C. all of a sudden becomes an awful lot of fun to do this stuff. So the great thing about theory plus a little bit of sweat of the brow is you get some music. And I think that's one of the things that I think, somehow the theory often gets taught without the musical application. So, Gary, first of all, welcome. If this is your first time here, I don't remember seeing your name here before, so I apologize if I have erred in my memory, but welcome. We like to cover all sorts of stuff. It's kind of like a Connect group for guitar players. So it's part music therapy and also just kind of guitar players getting together and every so often, having micro rants about, we play a lot of acoustic guitar and you never really hear it. Fun stuff like that. But it's all done in the spirit of fun and not, and not dishonoring our sound tech and other people. Angela, hang on a second. I want to worship God with all my heart, but instruments in my church is broke. You can help us. We're doing everything that we can to help. So please send your instrumentalists to here, and we will do everything we can to train them. That'd be great. Oh, awesome, Gary. Then if you chatted in and I managed to forget your name, please accept my apology. But awesome, and welcome back. Awesome. Okay, Deanne, hey, what's going on? Great to see you. Rick Costa. The funny thing is that I must admit, Rick, I got a little worried about you. So last night in the middle of the night, I poked in on you on Facebook, and I noticed that you have a Fender Strat on the way. Did that come today, or you were just kind of patiently waiting? So you've left the Ibanez flock. I'm excited to see. That was a beautiful guitar, by the way. So congratulations. I just wanted to make sure you're doing okay. And you know what? Tuesday night, people have stuff to do. Great to see you again, my friend. The derailed Ingrid. Nice. Cool. And celebrating Rick. Good. Awesome. I love the camaraderie. Okay, so here's the thing. We are not going to go super long tonight. I have some work that I need to attend to. And the main stuff that I wanted to accomplish tonight, I have accomplished. And so the idea was just really hitting on these triads, but also the idea of what they are, where they come from, and then how they're leveraged inside these chords, and just kind of the awareness of like, most of these chords are triadic in nature with some other stuff added. I also, in the midst of going over the dyads, if you understand what these dyadic intervals are, that is to say two notes either played at the same time, well, technically they have to be played at the same time to be a dyad, but they're also intervallic in nature. An interval is a distance between two notes, so they can be played separately or at the same time. A dyad is actually when they're played at the same time. Even though, like if you think about a triad, if I arpeggiated the triad, technically, I'm not striking this note, and this note at the same time, but it's not like I'm playing a true arpeggio where I'm arpeggiating. So the idea is just kind of taking those blinders off and just kind of beginning to go, okay. And you can come back to this show and just go to the charts here and just kind of pause and just kind of go, okay. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do here at the end of the thing, and you should be able to scrub wherever it is that you're watching. One, this is the keyboards with the scale degree numbers for the key of C. And this is really important because, again, it allows you to see C, hold a D, hold the E, half to F, determined by whether there is or is not a black key in between the notes. So if there's a black key in between C and D, we're going to move 2 frets because basically that's 2 half steps, which equals 2 frets. So a half step is 1 fret, a whole step is 2 frets, right? So C, hold the D, we're moving 2 frets, hold the E, half to F, because there's no black key in between E and F, hold the G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C. And going backwards, C, half to B, hold the A, hold the G, hold the F, half to E, hold the D, hold the C. And we can also think of that as 1, hold the 2, hold the 3, half to 4, hold the 5, hold the 6, hold the 7, half to 1. 1, half to 7, hold the 6, hold the 5, hold the 4, half to 3, hold the 2, hold the 1. And then we take that business and we move over to the intervals, and we just kind of go, okay, let's take that same relationship of 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1, and just move it down string. 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1. And that's going to give us G, hold a A, hold a B, half to C, hold a D, hold E. What's our next note got to be? Some sort of F note. Well, from E to F is a half step, but we needed to move a whole step. That's why that's F sharp, half to G. All right, so then we can take that G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G business and move it up here. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G while hitting an open G string, and that's where these dyads, unison, down below there, that's, even though this is the major 7 / major 7th, when these intervals are played together, that's a minor 2nd, because they're a half step apart. Unison, major 2nd, because they're a whole step apart. Half step, minor 2nd, whole step, major 2nd, minor 2nd, unison, major 2nd, major 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, major 6th, major 7th, octave, major 9. And if we take the 1st, 3rd, and 5th, and then we move over to here, and we play them, that's where these chords come from. And if you need to kind of, well, I should have started there an hour later. It's like 55 minutes condensed into all of that. But I also wanted to kind of give some of the Okay, so I'm going to comment on one thing, and then I'm going to bid you a fondue after we enter into prayer. You know, Alan, in spite of the fact that your glasses are on slightly crooked, you are definitely on to something there. Oh, hold on. The middle position there on a Strat is actually an amazing position. You don't necessarily want to use it all the time, but it has a presence so long as you don't hit it too hard. That's really lovely, and it can be missed. It's the easiest way to transform a Stratocaster into a Tele. You do want to be slightly gentle about it, and you can dig in hard. You just want to make sure you have a tone that's not too present in the top end. But the thing about it is it's a wonderful sound. Hang on. All right, what you got there? I have a question. I know maple necks have a brighter tone. My question is, can you dial in your amp effects to add warmth to make it sound like rosewood? Can you compensate for the brightness? The answer that could be like me being a jerk answer is like, if you wanted a rosewood neck, but you know that I love you. No, without being a jerk, here's the thing: is actually one, you can tame a maple neck, but. And I was joking with you, you know that. But the other thing is to celebrate the uniqueness about the maple. And so there's a photo that I don't. Hang on, I'm gonna go to the Doppler archive. Let's see if I can find this, and let's see if I can find this on this computer. No. Okay. Let me see if I can find it. Hang on just a second. Let me see if I can find something here. Come on. Where are you? Come on. You must exist. Hang on a second. There was a particular night that I got a chance to sit in with Joe and Neil Sean. And I knew if there was anybody whose fader was going to not be up, not that in that particular instance there was a problem with the sound guy, but let's face it, of the three guys playing, Joe, Neil, Sean, Joe Satriani, Neil, Sean, and myself, there is one who is considerably less well known, and you obviously want to make sure that the rock stars are taken care of and heard front of house, right? So the new guy, that's part of being the new guy. You're the new guy. Yours is the last fader to get attention because it's Joe's gig and Neil's is Neil, and was there like doing a 3-hour sound check, and I just kind of showed up with an amp and kind of plopped it down on the stage and hit a button. But that particular night, I have a red, I'm an S540 that has a maple neck that I specifically chose that night because I knew that Neil was going to probably show up with a Les Paul with a mahogany neck, and I knew that Joe was going to be playing his JS guitar with a rosewood board. So I knew that once they're playing rhythm, the maple neck was going to allow me to take advantage of the fact that it's just got a little bit of a pokiness in a non-abrasive way, and it almost kind of in the opposite way of the middle position. When it's used wisely, it's an amazing sound. Like it's kind of like that sound that you kind of went, oh, I didn't know a Strat could do that. Like with a clean tone, you'll very rarely play in the bridge position. It's kind of almost like with a clean sound, what you wished the Strat kind of sounded like in the bridge position. It's the best way to sound. It's still got a little pokiness to it, but it's a lovely sound. No, don't sell your maples. Or maybe you are selling it. No. So here's the thing is like, what it is that to understand that there are times you specifically want to reach for that maple guitar because it's got a sound that you just kind of like, and it's great. If you think about, I don't know, Eddie, it's part of that sound. It's a lovely sound. I'm not a huge fan on super strats of a maple top on the body. I'm a huge fan of a maple neck. Generally, where possible, and that Ibanez that I have is not built like that. It's actually a slab that's added on top of a board. I was never a big fan of that. I like, when a neck is a maple neck where it's one piece of maple, but can't have everything. So Rick, with my great pleasure, it is what it is. We live, and it's always great to try different things. So, awesome. Angeline, instrument in my church, electric guitar, bass. I don't have acoustic in my amplifier in my church. Electric guitar and bass is broke. People in my church does not mostly afford to buy instruments because they haven't money to buy instrument. Help us. We're going to offer up some prayer, and we don't have a mechanism to give gear at this time, but keep coming back, and we will. At some point we might, but that's not a promise other than saying at some point we might, and with pleasure, and God bless you. Joseph, this is my first time watching this show. I'm a worship leader at my church where I sing and play guitar. I need to start watching this regularly. Hey, well, first of all, welcome. We are basically a community of guitar players that we love, kind of all the cool stuff. So welcome. So glad you're here. And this is cool. This is we are a family and we love hanging out on Tuesdays, and welcome. It's pretty darn cool what we get a chance to do. All right, 4 more hours. This is what some of you guys don't know is that there are people that egg me on into doing 6-hour shows. I won't mention any names. I did a 6-hour live stream a couple Saturdays ago, and my wife thought I'd lost my mind, and I had some of the most fun that I've ever. The concept of a 6-hour live stream is nothing short of insanity, and that's the kind of insanity that I love. All right, Lord, we just give thanks for the opportunity again to bring our gifts to you, for the blessing of having the gifts to bring to you in the first place. We give thanks for the fact that it's kind of a funny thing. There's a lot of amazing music in the world that we find inspirational that's not necessarily offered up to you, but we still find as inspiration. We can bring it back and turn it into an offering. And that is a really, it's something that I'm just beginning to understand. It's just, there's all this mainstream music, but there's a lot that we can bring back to the house of worship that we can use to raise up the generations. We can use it to lift the house. And, so I just give thanks for the inspiration that can be found anywhere. And I give thanks, that you're the kind of God who's just like, look, be judicious about what you listen to, but at the same time, because for anybody out there just kind of pondering, their music has a spirit on it, so just be conscious of that. There's some bands that I had to stop listening to because there was a spirit on the music. I'm like, where this takes me is not a place I want or need to go. In any case, Lord, you just give us the ability to not just kind of live in a hole that, we just are sequestered from the rest of the world. Rather, you want us to actually bring light to the rest of the world. And to bring light to the rest of the world, we kind of need to understand what's going on around us. And you don't have a problem with us, taking inspiration from sources outside the church and bringing them into the church and using it for good, which we just love. And we just love the ability to come together in fellowship and family and all of that. And the fellowship has its strengths. Friendship is a whole different deal. And family is a whole different deal altogether. And I don't use those words lightly, but I have that feeling about who we are, and I celebrate that, and I celebrate you in the midst of all of that. So we just give thanks. I just pray that everybody, who's struggling, I'm going to have to read it. But there was, I felt moved. I start every day in Bible Gateway. And there was a verse yesterday from Romans 12:12, right? Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. So, Lord, I just pray that word over everybody here. It's just so, I'm not dry, but at the same time, I found that quenched my spirit in a way that gave me a big yes and amen. And it just, sometimes it's the perfect word at the perfect time. And it's just kind of like it's that combination to the safe of my heart. And you just kind of go, there you go. Chew on this. So thank you for that, Lord. Your word is like the best filet mignon. Or for the vegetarians out there, I don't know. In any case, we give thanks for the ability to come together and have fun and celebrate you and spend some time in worship and spend some time in prayer and just have some community, which we all need. And we're all grateful for. So we ask all this and pray all this in Jesus' mighty name. We all said, amen. All right, thank you so much all. And I look forward to seeing you next week. God bless.